Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Glen Eagles Reserve. My name, as always, is Dave Webb. We are here for day number 2 of the NRC2. I'll be joined in commentary for this one by Travis McLaughlin, who's down here with the referees. Welcome, Travis.
Thanks very much for having me, Dave.
Enjoyed yourself so far?
Yeah, I think last night was a good day of rugby. A few blowout scores, but it was good rugby nonetheless. I think today's going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, it's always going to be there. We're always going to have one-sided scores. We're essentially looking at 2 tiers of rugby at the moment. This one we are watching today is the South Australian under-23s wearing the red and black jerseys, taking on Tasmania, wearing their traditional bottle green and gold, I am told, or bottle green and yellow at the very least. It's certainly it's good to see the developing states come in and test their mettle against the bigger sides.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for them, certainly. I think it's traditionally a lot of the rugby's played in few states, and it's nice to see the minnows coming through and really giving a good crack at it.
South Australia certainly want to see themselves as top of the pile of the emerging states, we'll call them, with Tasmania and Northern Territory. Northern Territory not making it down here this year. But it's you might be able to hear in the background, the wind is up today, and it is blowing from the left of your screen away to your right, so it's certainly at the backs of the Tasmanians in this first half. It's our first chance to have a look at the scrum.
The dominant Tasmanian scrum there.
One of the things we saw yesterday, and obviously down in referee coaching, I think you are, Travis.
Yes.
So watching all of the rugby very, very closely last night, what became very, very clear is the teams that can control the midfield between the sort of 10 and the 13 channel, they're the ones who really looked good last night.
Yeah, teams with a big defence in the midfield and the stronger boys were definitely controlling the ball a lot. There was a lot in that second and third channels, a lot of breaks through that midfield.
So the under-23s just trying to find a way through, and
good rip there from the Tasmanian.
And they have turned it over. And Tassie will look to go away. Little inside ball. This time really we've seen them with ball in hand and getting to go forward. Another inside ball. Inside ball is giving them good meters over the gain line so far. Looks like Tassie just want to move the point of attack, and rather than going one out rugby, they are looking to shift it straight away. They get another one. Another big challenge in midfield from the South Australian Junior Falcons. And away out to the left-hand side. First 5 just sniping, trying to find a gap. Can't quite find one.
Yeah, it's good to see them moving the ball around a bit more. They were obviously dominated a bit by Perth last night, which restricted their movement a lot.
Well, with your accent, I will say this. I spoke to some people last night after the games last night, and I feel like the comparison for the Perth gold side, they feel very South African. There's nothing flashy about them. There's nothing, I don't take this the wrong way about South Africa.
No,
there's nothing flashy about them, but my word, do they hit it hard.
Yeah.
And very well structured and fast. And I think fast is, when we looked at the games yesterday, the New South Wales country Cockatoos, not the Eagles, I apologise for that yesterday, the Cockatoos and Perth, so fast to turn defence into attack, and turnover ball is dangerous for anybody who's coming up against them.
Yeah, I think that South African style of rugby is never really pretty rugby. It's always just, there's a lot of straight lines.
Yes, and very little concern for themselves or really anybody in the same postcode of them. So Tassie will bring it down from 4, get the driving maul going. South Australia have managed to get in a position where they can disrupt it and hold it up. It is over the line. Can they get it down? Can they get it down cleanly? No, he's called it. And this is what we were talking about today we were talking, we're not obviously not playing the full NRC law variations today. So we'll go for a 5 metre scrum. Obviously in the NRC that would be a goal line dropout for South Australia.
Yes.
So it's an interesting one. We were talking about it before. Kind of rewards you for good defence.
Yes, exactly.
Because now South Australia are backs against the wall in a 5 metre scrum and a set piece for Tasmania. But on the other hand, they've been rewarded for a good driving maul. So it's a toss a coin at times.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an interesting law variation. I think some of the teams are still getting used to it as well. Some of the spectators certainly don't even know about it yet. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see if it sticks around or if it gets shelved.
I don't mind it. I don't think the 2250 or the 5022 is doing its job.
No.
But I don't mind the 5 metre scrum one, the goal line dropout one. Short ball just runs through the tackle and will find a way over the line. First blood goes to the men from the Apple Isle. Simple rugby.
Strong run there from number 6.
Just takes the inside line, and it's that first up tackle. You've got to make that first up tackle. Kicking will be difficult today. It'll be an interesting day because it's blustery, I think is the right word for it. It comes and goes.
And although on the screen it's coming left to right, it's also coming at an angle.
Yeah.
So it's going to make it a lot more difficult at the place kicking.
I've just noticed as well is that the man in the middle is a Tasmanian.
Yes, that's correct, Craig Gardner.
So we've got referees who come from all around Australia. They're all in developmental pathways.
That's correct, yeah. We've got a referee from Tasmania, obviously Craig in the middle. We've got Jack from Sydney.
Oh, it's charged down. We don't see that very often. Although it is starting to become a thing now, the charge down.
Yeah, there's a lot more teams competing at it, certainly. For a long period, there were teams just hang back behind the gold line and just have a chat rather than actually doing anything about it.
Well, they were watching the Rugby World Cup last night, and they were talking about George Ford, and he has a hesitation in his run-up, which is giving people the chance. And if South Australia were to win this one by 2 points, there's certainly a young man who'll be getting a fair few pats on the head. So Tassie again will look into midfield. So far they have won that battle in midfield. South Australia got hands on. Didn't quite beat the clean out there. Kick will not turn, or does turn the winger around, Save, and there we see the effects of that wing. They thought it was going to come down for him and then just took off again. They will get out the back to Save. Just wanting too much time at the breakdown, they'll have to sort it out. Brodie Porter looked for a little bit of room. I do apologise to the Tasmanians again, I haven't got a team sheet for them, so flying blind a little bit. South Australia again will look to go just outside their own 22.
Lost it there.
He's a fair amount of young man, isn't he? The number 5 must have been a handful for his parents growing up. One of the things we were talking about before we came on air as well was that this Tasmanian side, bigger and more experienced. Yes. Will they have enough gas in the tank?
Yeah, the South Australian boys certainly look a bit fitter. I mean, they're younger, so they might have a bit more gas in the tank, but...
and they're just coming off the end of their season as well. I mean, we're only 2 weeks at the end of the season, so fitness levels should still really be up there.
Yes.
Tasmania, I'm not entirely sure when their season finished.
I think they finished somewhat back in August already, so early in August. Stand corrected.
So they look the blind side. They've got the numbers if they can make it work. He's actually done very well to get a boot onto it. South Australia will manage to get back.
Oh, there's that wind taking it not as far as it's going to be.
It's going to be tough to exit from this right-hand side of your screen. If we had I'm not sure whether we have a replay of that. No, I don't think we do have a replay of that. But he turned a knock on into a fairly decent kick.
Yep.
So it'll be a line-out. We've already seen them bring it down and march it once, the Tasmanians. Missed the target, so they're not going to be able to set anything up. Halfback has to try and burrow a way through. They'll settle into a pick and drive game. Another short ball to the big blindside flanker, but that one's forward. It's actually something I might pick your brain on.
Sure.
Having watched the amount of rugby. So the law says that you must release the ball immediately.
Yes.
When tackled, but I get that we want it to flow. If referees followed the laws to the letter, yes, we would never have a game of rugby.
Oh, you'd be blowing the whistle every
Yeah.
2 seconds. That's correct.
But it does appear that in that circumstance there, that the South Australian had hands on the ball, and it was a good 2 seconds before the clean-out actually got rid of him. At what point do you swap it the other way and go, all right, okay, South Australia are starting to dominate the breakdown? Or
yeah, I think it's a tough one. You've got.
Ellie Ipper will do well with the little show and go, trying to
forward.
get out the back door, and it went forward.
I think in that particular instance over there, what happened was there wasn't enough time to allow the tackle player to place the ball.
Yep.
So whilst you have to place it immediately, you also have to give that player an
Yep.
opportunity to place the ball, and that didn't happen there. So, and then it was cleaned out. And I suppose if you wanted to be technical, you could have given a penalty. But you know, play away from those if you don't need them. The ball still came out on the right side.
We want to see rugby. We don't want to see penalties.
Exactly.
So it will be a Tasmania scrum in a fairly strong position. There's a decent blind side on this near side. First 5 is stood directly behind the scrum. Can go either way if he wants to. So they do decide to go blind. They've got the numbers down this side. Little kick behind will go into touch. So it will be a South Australian line-out. You can see by the AR's flag just how strong that wind is. So this is where it gets very, very difficult for South Australia just to get out of their own 22 at the moment. They have got someone sat in the pocket, but you'd expect them to bring them down and try and walk away and give them a little bit more space.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want to do, is turn over the line out. And he's got his second of the game. Oh no, it's the number 8, not the number 6, but that's 2 of the back row union. Scoring very, very early. One-handed. So this one for a right-footed kicker will probably be the most difficult kick that he'll face, at least so far.
Yeah, definitely not going to be an easy one.
Not at all, because the natural arc of a right-footed kick is going to be countered by the wind, and probably even a little bit more. Now that's an interesting one. Can you get the water carrier to do it? No, it has to be a player.
It has to be a player, that's correct.
And that's what he needed to do, and nearly went. And there you see the effects of the wind.
Just didn't have the legs.
No. Well, the kicking, it's a weird one, because that's almost going directly left to right as the kicker's looking at the post. So
counterintuitive.
yeah, it's for a right-footed kicker, you would normally aim to the right-hand side of the goals. He was way outside the left-hand post, and it nearly came all the way around. Kick through, and South Australia again find themselves on the back foot. Not held, got up and went again. Save will stand in at first receiver, just take on the midfield. Ball bounces around, they manage to get it out of the back. Now they can start getting going forward. Over halfway towards the 10-metre line. Rooks have been slow and messy so far. There'll be another slow one. I'd like to see that. Props just willing to hit the first receiver rather than picking and going.
Yeah.
Everyone should be able to pass 10 metres off either hand,
break
and they're away,
outside.
and they've got the outside. Can't beat the last defender, manages to get and go again, looks inside. Ball's still going. Does get another offload, lost it forward. Just all got a little bit scrappy in the end. Did well initially, and the offload wasn't terrible, and then they get the second offload, and he almost looks like he spent it before he got it.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Could have really tightened the game up there.
Yeah, it would have been close, wouldn't it?
10
points to nil.
Yeah.
15 minutes gone, so half-hour halves over this weekend. Just a little stoppage for an injury. I think, you know, we're kind of right. It's showing itself to be true that Tassie are the bigger bodies and more physical, and they would be hoping to just beat South Australia into submission.
Yeah, keep it in tight.
Because otherwise, as we've just seen, if they're given space, South Australia will go and go quickly.
Yes.
Lots and lots of room over on this near side.
Wind could certainly help a good clearance kick here.
Well, yes, it's the opposite problem that South Australia have. They put a lot of pressure on, they managed to wheel it around. Tassie trying to run out of defence.
Just unlucky offsides there, knock on and in front of the man. One of those unlucky technical penalties.
And there you see that they can clear away from here, and it's not the first time I've used it. It's a little bit like Sisyphus at the moment for South Australia. They roll all the way up to the top of the hill, and the boulder will just roll all the way back down if they turn it over.
Hopefully we see them use it to the opposite effect in the second half.
Well, if it stays there, I mean, you know, again, there was some talk beforehand about what do you do as a captain. Do you go into it first half? It will change throughout the day. The sea is just over those trees that you can see is towards the beach. So as the day moves on, the wind will swing around. When that will happen, not entirely sure. Little knock on and South Australia will get the scrum. Scrummages have been okay last night as well, nothing too silly, nothing
No, I think there were it was just a lot of dominance last night. So
Well, I think we're going to see different games today.
yes, I think you see a much more competitive scrum today over the course of the day.
Certainly looking forward to the game that is next up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a cracking game. Both the country sides got a bit of a past. They love playing each other.
Tassie with another scrum in midfield. So whether they come this blind side again, and they do. They put the big fella out here just to make him run hard and straight. That's Daniel, hands on ball. Counter ruck from South Australia is good. Ellie Ipper working hard. The box kick is charged down, but it will find its way into the hands of Ellie Ipper. He'll find himself taking on the big number 5 in Holman. And as you may have found out, we finally got our teams through. So I do hope Holman is feeling better. I think he had a little bit of a stomach bug yesterday. Penalty.
Just couldn't take the pressure there from Tassie.
Is that hands or a wheel? What's this?
Nah, he wasn't taking the pressure, just
right.
Letting it all
Dropped his elbow
loose on the other side.
So again, Tassie just starting to show dominance in the scrum, and Anthony will go out into midfield and send it out to Salter. Again, they will work out onto that far side. Griffith was just to come back into the safety, but it's been turned over again. South Australia can go again. Iliippa, no real thoughts of putting it on the boot. Just will take a hit up. They are inside their 22 still.
Turnover again, and
penalty.
Straight in from the side.
Side entry.
Got a bit excited to see the ball there.
Yes. I did a little bit of coaching, and it's a frustration as a coach when you give those penalties away. I've never known a player get away with it. I've never known a player make the argument that it's out and get away with it.
Yeah. It's always fun when you're refereeing it as well, because they know straight afterwards they shouldn't have done it.
No. There's all sorts of old wives' tales about when it is out. How is it out? If it's in full sun, if a bird can poop on it, all of...
It's past the last feet.
Better defensive scrum from South Australia, but now they will start to move backwards a little bit. The back of the scrum with Watts controlling it. Big midfield challenge. One thing I've noticed over the last sort of 10 minutes is that Tasmania have, as the little show and go, is the halfback looking for a little bit of room. Still they roll forward. Now there should have been space out there and a little knock on. So what I have noticed in the last 10 minutes is that Tassie have just fallen back into a one-out type of game. They're not moving the point of attack like they were, which was giving them some really decent gains.
Yeah, they were moving it from side to side nicely, but now they just seem to be playing that first channel rugby, and it's not really working for them.
Not at the moment. South Australia have upped their game and realised that they can't sit and wait for these big guys to run at them. I think they've moved Daniel. He seems to be playing in the number 12 role, in the number 6 jersey. It is squad rugby though this weekend, so we've got a number 9 in the 13 channel. Eliippa decides to take it at them and beats the first one, and then we'll go out to Save. Save will put the ball on the boot, turn all the defenders around. Did very, very well to wait for the ball to sit down, and the red shirts will get there.
Just slow ball out there.
Really well done from Daniel. Wiggett will show and go. Jenkins came off a Tasmania hand, so we'll play on. Whitten will step back inside, and Whitten will bite back for the South Australians. So initially some good cover in defence from Tasmania. In fact, Daniel did very, very well, because we literally just finished talking about how tempting it is to pick the ball up. The conversation is on about the hand in the...
yeah, they're just having a chat about that.
Whether it was a forward or...
Yeah, they're just... Advantage play, try scored.
Yeah,
so
it looked like it came off a Tasmanian hand as it went through, so...
I think if they hadn't have scored there, it might have been a penalty, but the fact that the try was scored, just play on a little bit.
Yep, we're here to watch rugby. So Eliippa with the kick at goal. I was going to say, it'd be interesting to see how close he takes us, because getting the distance would be difficult.
Absolutely. We were having a kick out on the field before, and it was tough to get the ball going any distance. And we're not great at kicking.
Has to drive it, does drive it, good kick.
More than enough there.
10 points to 7. About 4 minutes to go in the half.
$17 green on, 21 off.
So the change is starting to be rung as well. 3 games in 4 days. They do all have a rest day tomorrow. Tasmania had played yesterday and found themselves on the end of a 108-3 thumping. There's no real way to describe it other than that. So there would have been some sore bodies this morning. Restart is high. Wilson does well and a think about it and then brings it in. Takaki will put his head down. Tasmania have managed to turn it over again. They've been good at the breakdown. Now 5 Brian. He's stopped at the line of scrimmage. Lean will cough it up when it's been knocked on by South Australia. And Scrum in a favourite position for Tasmania. They've tried a couple of times to work down the blind side on central scrums.
I think we'll probably see a number 6 green running down the centre again.
Well, yeah. Just give him the hard straight line.
My money would be on that.
It's probably what you would call the South African line.
Yes, very much so.
Although it is, the line would be reminiscent of Scott Gibbs on Osduran a number of years ago. It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, as teams get tight, and we've started to see the breakdown get a little bit scrappy and a little bit slow as the teams get tired. I think we're probably going to see the penalty count in that area of the game start to rack up.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing we spoke about before the game, was just, are Tasmania going to have that gas? Are South Australia going to be able to keep it up as youngsters?
Yeah, I'm just looking, the Tassie have got a fairly decent bench.
Yeah. Certainly no sign of it just yet.
And there is the number 6. I'd say had 2 goes at him, Fareed.
Spinning out of a few there.
Now they will look quickly to Brian. Brian manages to get over the gain line and come near side again to Lean. Lean has it stolen off him and away. South Australia nearly come. Well, he's managed to get that go backwards somehow, and the kick forward.
Really a good breakaway there.
Well, yeah. He let it play just to see whether Tasmania would get anything from it, but literally the shirt tails kept that from being a foot race. There's some battered and bruised bodies out there already. Just watching Lean limp back towards the back of the scrum. We've seen one of the South Australian imports for Tasmania come on. That's Sparkles, Ben White. Another strong scrum from Tasmania. Pass went over his head and Daniel is going to get some more yards. Again, they will come to this near side. Good quick hands and they're away again. Holman will step out of one, run over the second and just bowl over the line. And the 3 tries from the Tasmanians have all come the way of the big boys today.
Yeah, there was only one way that was going.
Leaves South Australian youngsters in his wake. And as if his first kick from over here wasn't hard enough, this one is even harder.
Well, he knows what to do this time.
Yeah, see whether he's learned anything. He's whether he can zero in. I noticed as well the ball fell off the tee last time. He didn't ask permission, just went and got it. So another interesting one that seems to be getting lost to the annals of time.
Yes, and having to pick it up and drop kick it.
Yeah, well, we have seen it once this year. Saw it in South Australia, fell off the tee. It's had one charge down, and that one's not going to come back enough. That one had the legs, but not the direction. That will be half times. Tasmania lead it 15 points to 5. South Australia will come out with the wind at their backs in the second half. We'll take a short break. We'll be back for half number 2.
That's great. Cool. That's under the horizon. Yeah. As long as you're up hands, probably at this point check 20 games.
Make sure your HDMI is in nice and tight for me.
Yeah, boy. Just make sure there's no... Nice. Hardly, it's just a little bit. The buttons, right? This is way more comfortable. Do you want me to go wide? Do you want me to go wide? Have you checked your end? It's holding now. What is dry accent? Focus magnification.
Nobody wanted it.
He said, John, you go first. So I'm on. You gotta listen, dude. Cameras are so cool. I'm just Also, fun things we love each other about that. So you went off. Just say your name. Oh my god. Joke. But I would. You know I only do comedy. It's not coming out of us. It's not Go with not happening. 1, 2. Wait, you count the punks. Zoom out. This goes to me when I'm trying to do something. Yeah. It's not zooming out before it. What? It's going to Carl. Got me sideways today. I'd take it. Carl, like, is fine. Yeah, he'll miss Debbie. You'll become you, Debbie. Also, for the video, the division, that's also the green screen. Where you look Game over. I like. What was that? Like, top front keeper? Like the very like the little knuckle that's like right. My ass knuckle. Do that.
Queensland country will be attacking the right of your screen. Sorry. And New South Wales country attacking the left, and we are underway. The Cockatoos will start with ball in hand. And the Cockatoos get away on the near side. Just the ankle tap manages to slow him down a little bit. And a little knock on will give the scrum to Queensland country. Queensland country will have the scrum. Just reset that one. And everything is just lifted. Queensland country absolutely fresh. This is their first game of the competition. New South Wales country had a game last night. Ran out easy winners against the South Australian under-23s. But a free kick and Queensland country will go. Just tap ball high in the air. Counter attack will come. Again, one out, over to the far side. Diced with it, but managed to get it away. Almost looked like an interception. So Darman directing traffic from first five. Finds safety in one of his forwards. Flat ball again. Brook hits it and hits it hard. Then they're out to again, the big midfield runners for the Cockatoos. Short side, Darman, quick hands. Takes on a couple of Queenslanders. French. And again, Queensland country having to stand and take all of these midfield runs. French again, puts his head down, met by two. Again, Queensland country just battering the wings of the breakdown. Slow ball. Queensland have got numbers at the breakdown. Couldn't quite turn it over though. Cockatoos might have room on the right hand side if they can get it out quickly on this one. There is numbers out there, but it's been turned over and a penalty. Now back slapping can begin for Queensland country. Number 6 for the Cockatoos. Josefa Beer manages to get his hands free in the tackle situation and looks to offload, and it's always a second chance for the runners for the Eagles. Queensland Country have the wind at their backs in this first half. Be interesting to see how they utilise it. The Cockatoos making sure that taking the wind out of the game. Off the top into midfield. Flat ball will find the ground. They do manage to pick it up and get the offload away. The Cockatoos are very, very close to turning it over. They do turn it over and they have a penalty advantage. Rumbling over the 10-metre line. Just coughed up, but we're going to come back. I think for not releasing. And that is the signal, not releasing. So the Cockatoos managing to get to that breakdown first. And just driven up towards halfway. Between the halfway line and the 10-metre line. And the Cockatoos will have the lineup. Went back ball on a day like today. It was always going to be risky. So they'll come back, not straight. So will be a Queensland Country scrum. Just going to find a little bit of better footing for the scrum. Eliminated completely the blind side. So Queensland will load everybody out to the open side. Cockatoos get a scrum on and get the penalty. Certainly the early advantage is going the way of the men in orange. Queensland look a little bit shell-shocked from what they're seeing at the moment. Just having a chat with the referees before we came on air today as to whether there would be any feeling in this one, and I think we've already had that question answered. Queensland will steal the lineup. Driven a long way back. Now back three for the Cockatoos can now launch. Tried to drop it back inside. Wasn't pretty, but it worked. It got there. Now they can get away. Again, they find themselves in Queensland territory. Lost forward though in the tackle. You do get the sense that Queensland Country are just about holding on at the moment. And if there was going to be a try, it was going to go the Cockatoos' way. Back two of the Cockatoos are stood a fair way back. So there is a fairly big gap if they could find it between the defensive line and the back two of the Cockatoos if they get away. So still a Queensland Country scrum. So we approach 10 minutes of this one. Again, the scrum is just a little bit scrappy, and certainly the New South Wales Cockatoos feel that they have the ascendancy so far. And again, the Eagles go. Not the Eagles, the Cockatoos, sorry. And there is that gap. That's the gap that we were talking about, and it just didn't go to hand. And the Cockatoos managed to come away from it. Beats a couple. Finds his way rolling towards the 22. Cockatoos are away, looking away on that far side, on the right-hand side. Another big challenge in midfield. Pulled out the back. Short ball. They found some space. Last pass and a tackle just short. And I think Queensland Country have turned it over, and they have. And again, they will hold on. By the skin of their teeth, they remain at 0-0. You wonder whether this is just giving Queensland Country just a little bit of confidence. Line out in the middle, and they will go to midfield again. Flat ball across the front. Not held. Queensland Country again will brace themselves for the oncoming orange wave. It's still there. And the try is scored. The first try of this one will go to New South Wales Country, and McInnes is the one who comes up with the ball in hand. Just that little kick through, and then it all got a bit messy. Nobody could quite get it under control, and McInnes finally jumped on the hand grenade. 5 points to the Cockatoos. And in reality, you would say that you could almost feel that it would be a little bit more. So McInnes, the beneficiary of the scrappy ball on the floor. Conversion to come will be a hard one. And he's pulled it. Less said about that, the better, I think, for the kicker's sake. So Queensland Country will have to rebuild. Haven't really seen them manage to put too much together. The Cockatoos defensively have been very active around the breakdown. Wobbly old kick, and it's allowed to bounce. And the Cockatoos will go again. Short ball to Beer. Just switch the side that they're going to play. Little in out. Gets himself some room. Flat ball too hot to handle and turned over. Queensland Country finally getting hands on ball. Slips, catches. Just the wind is playing havoc Going to come back for the knock-on. Any longish passes are starting to find the floor. Queensland Country will have a scrum, and finally, well, they would hope for a solid platform, but the Cockatoos have managed to disrupt the Queensland Country scrum. That time we do get away, and then it just kicks straight into touch, but they can come back for the penalty. You'd think it would be kickable from here. And they're going to go for the corner. Sends it down towards the 22. In front of the gathered Perth Gold squad, they'll be watching this one with interest. Stolen at the front of the line. Beer showed the roll around and then put his head down and went. Just trying to snipe around that far side, trying to find a little bit of extra space. And they will pull it out the back, and then it's driven away. It will not find touch. Now Queensland Country can look to counter-attack. They've got numbers. Decided against using them. Has run into some orange shirt defenders. Now Queensland can start to put a little bit of phase play together. Arm comes out for another penalty. Strange little kick over. Wanted the penalty, gets the penalty. Expect them to go into the corner again. So they will go right into the corner. They'll look to improve on the last line out they had. They go quick to the front, and again it's been spoiled. But knocked forward by Queensland, and it will be a scrum to the Cockatoos. 5 metres out. So Queensland Country have found themselves in the Cockatoos territory, but mainly through a little discipline from the man from New South Wales. Interesting tactic. I think the halfback from Queensland has decided to leave it and just go and look after the blind side. It's wandering back towards the scrum now. Flat ball, just to try and make the angle for the kick a little bit better. And again, they'll look quick. They are trying to direct traffic to get an overlap over here. Going to go one-on-one. Kick will find its way into touch. And the bounce of the ball is beneficial for the Cockatoos. Prevented Queensland Country from doing anything quickly. Better line out. And lost forward in midfield, and the Cockatoos can go again. Pick and drive gives them an extra metre, and then we'll set them off again. McInnes, the try scorer. Beer. Not having as much freedom as he had last night, but they're away again. Oh, that's so I think he's probably going to sit down for a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how long for. I mean, that was feet in a very dangerous position and went down on his head. It's the number 8 for the Cockatoos, Brooke. I think it was the winger who got him. So a conversation between the officials about it, just how bad it was. I mean, it's one of the worst I've seen. So there will be a card. I'm not entirely, it's just a question of which colour. He's called the winger out. It's a red one. So Queensland Country will have to play the rest of the game a man down. Probably very, very justify that red card. A penalty to the Cockatoos will push them to within the 22, you would think. So it'll be a Cockatoos line out. About 10 metres away from the line. Changes started to be rung for Queensland Country. Queensland Country will steal it at the front. Again, the wind playing havoc with the pass, the long pass. It's just fired a long way down. It's gone out. The question is being asked. I don't know whether it was touched, and it is touched by a New South Wales hand before it goes out. So it's going to be a Queensland Country ball. So what could have been a disaster has been changed, and again, not going to hand. Again, they will look at the short side. Cockatoos look to build again. Burrow the way through. Again, they will come short side. Good contact on this near side. Queensland Country have been forced into playing. And they are going to be a player down. BU again. Trying to get his hands free. It is relentless from New South Wales country at the moment. They are not allowing Queensland to settle down at all. And again, it's driven towards its near touchline. Takes a nice New South Wales bounce. Queensland country will have to build from outside their own 22 into the teeth of the wind. Lots of movement in the line, and again the cockatoos will fly high and steal. Beer steps. Takes the attention of 3 blue defenders. Again, can't get the offload, and again they'll just look to this near side where there is no winger anymore. The back 3 organisation for Queensland country is going to be a little bit disjointed. New South Wales country will have the line out. They had one here recently and Queensland were able to get up and spoil it. Again, the line out does not go to hand, but they do manage to come away. Brook will get hands on. Biu again. Out to the far side. Short ball came off the shoulder. We're all good to go. Brook, flat ball to Biu. This time he does use the run around. Good hands. They've got one over. And he's bundled into touch. There's a little bit of conversation afterwards. Deciding where the best fish and chips are to buy. It's Henley Beach, if you want to know. Lovely hands from the cockatoos. He thought he was going to run over the top of the back, and the back stood big and strong. Very important line out for Queensland. And again, it's turned over. Bio will shovel it backwards. Queensland country again, trying to find a way through. Handling errors, both sides, keeping the score closer. Brook again. Again, they will come this near side. Again, they need quick hands. Biu looks for the offload. Penalty. Hands in the rock. Just haven't been able to get Biu to get his hands free and behind the gain line like they want him to. I think as we get very, very close, a minute and a half to half time. And I think as we get close to that half-time break, Queensland country, despite being behind on the scoreboard, can probably take a little bit out of this game. Defensively, they have been incredibly solid. Only breached once. I'm going to have to go the rest of the game with a player down after the red card for the spear tackle. If they could get on the scoreboard before half-time. Arm comes out for a penalty. And the halfback is sore, and it, from where I am, and not that I have a medical opinion, it looks like collarbone. He had a fair amount of human being come down on the top of him. I think we're likely to see a change. So the halfback, as he gets ready to go, has to step back a little bit. And then he wears a whole heap of human being, which is McNamara. Certainly looks like a shoulder. So they should have time to take the penalty and continue. So there is a change at halfback, and the way he's holding that arm, I don't think we're going to see him. No, he tried to move it. I don't think we're going to see him again. So this should be the last action of the first half. We'll have time for the line-out, and the line-out will be 5 metres out. Queensland Country have struggled to hit a target in the line-out, but that's probably down to the conditions more than anything else. To go a long way for it, and they can set themselves. Cockatoos have done everything they can to disrupt it, and they've broken the maul. But here it comes out, that was a ruck, and I think he's going to be lucky, McNamara, to get away with that, so we can see parity at least for what is going to happen. So it's another penalty, so we'll keep going. There is no time on, but we will keep going because can't end on a penalty. Looks like they're just going to go with the tap and go. The big front rower from Queensland puts his hand up for work again. Another short ball. Showed the inside, and will just look to power his way over the line. Backs will switch over to this near side again. Flat ball, they will find numbers. Can they get to the line? Not quite. Cockatoos have managed to slow it down enough. Again, they look to snipe, and they look to get him into touch. He's still there. Again, they will snipe. Centimetres away from the line, the whistle will go. Another penalty. Quick tap. Head down towards the line. Pick and go is the call. They get inch closer to the whitewash. Again, it's slow. And again, they'll just try and take it in small chunks. Finally, they do get over, and they'll even the score with the kick to come. Big for Queensland Country. They've had to dig very deep for that one. They took a beating for the majority of the first half, went to play it down. And they managed to hold on, and there was occasions where they only just held on. And they managed to hold on and stay in contact. So it's 5 points apiece with the kick to come. And Queensland Country can go into half time with the lead of this one. They will count themselves extremely lucky. And on the other side of that coin, the Cockatoos will be having a small inquest as to how they can find themselves down at half-time. You consider the first half that both of these teams have had. Kick is on its way. Kick is good, and they do lead by 2 at half time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a short break. We'll be back with you for half number 2. So welcome back for half number 2. Queensland Country leading this one 7 points to 5. New South Wales Country will have the wind at their backs in the second half. I certainly would like to have been on a fly on a wall during the halftime team talks. But just a reminder as well before we get underway, and this one is the next game up will be South Australia taking on Perth Gold. There is another game this afternoon which will be Victoria Country versus a Barbarian side, which has been rapidly put together in South Australia. That one will not be live but will be available later on. Kick holds up and can't be gathered in, is knocked on by Queensland Country. So the Cockatoos will have a scrum around 40 metres out. So the New South Wales scrum in the first half had ascendancy. And again, solid, it's nice, it wheeled it round, but had enough. Flat ball into midfield. We'll find Gibbon. Allowed to keep going, Gibbon. And we'll get the offload. But the offload, he's on touch before the offload came. So we will continue the theme somewhat of the first half, which is Queensland backs to the wall. Just whether they can keep this Cockatoo side out. Over the top, misses everyone. The Cockatoos can launch into midfield from the line-up mistake. Near side again, little show and go. Can't find a way through. They will reset. Quick hands, chopped down in the shadow of the posts. And again, they will come to this near side. And again, Queensland having to put a shift in defensively. Little show and go, gets another metre or two. Arm comes out for another penalty. Penalty is given. Another high shot. Again, would be in a kickable position, but they've opted for the scrum. So it gives them a natural overlap on the open side as Queensland Country are a player down thanks to a red card in the first half. But there is also a fairly decent blind side for them to work with, and they want the blind side. Scrum had wheeled, so couldn't quite get around the back. Queensland Country again will just have to sort out the back three. And again, the Cockatoos will just start the relentless knocking on the Queensland door. Brook again. Change at halfback and then sent long out the back, and they've got numbers out here if they can get the 2-on-1. Do get the winger across, and again Queensland Country will get over there, but this time the Cockatoos do get over. Taragabithi will score over in the far corner and just push New South Wales Country in front by 3 points. Defensively, Queensland Country have had to work extremely hard in this game. And New South Wales Country, the Cockatoos, finally getting over the line. So the conversion not successful. Queensland Country just the 3 points down at the moment. High hanging kick not taken. So a little knock on. Roman couldn't quite bring it under control. So Queensland Country with a solid scrum. And then it's turned away, but penalty. Just drove around the corner. So Queensland Country will have the lineup 5 metres out. Struggled to hit a target initially in the first half. The wind still blustery, but not as strong as it seemed to be in the first half. Now they do manage to get it down. Sacked straight away. Queensland Country again inside the 5. Again, they're just trying to take it little by little. Showed one way, then went the other, and he's tackled on top of the previous breakdown. And again, they just have to keep taking it millimetre by millimetre. Again, they will show and go. And they still go. And there's an advantage for the Queensland countryside, and they're just going to keep knocking and knocking and knocking. Big test for this New South Wales country defence, and they try and send it out. Driven backwards, giving them a little bit more space. Could work out for them. I think we would still be in advantage, and now they do look to spread it out onto that far side. Couldn't quite get away. Little show on the outside. They are going to come back for the penalty, and we will take this opportunity to welcome into commentary Jason Hyam.
Thank you, Dave. Nice to come join you over on this side. So, cracker of a game we're watching.
It has been
Queensland
punishing.
Queensland country showing some great patience here, Dave.
You can't take away the guts that they've shown as well. I mean, they're a player down. They played the majority of the first half in the shadow of their own goalposts. They managed to sneak out of the half with a 2-point lead. They've conceded a try early in the second half, but have managed to turn that around and come back into it.
Yeah, that early try looked like New South Wales were going to have a fairly simple go of it today, didn't it? And they really have dug their heels in, Queensland country, to come back into it. And it's been really exciting, I have to say. I'm not a big fan of the pick and go around the corner there as they were going for, I don't even know how many phases that was, but yeah, it's, they're really digging in and making an effort. So
it's just been a really interesting day as far as the conditions go. The wind has played havoc with the line-out. New South Wales country, the scrum has been absolutely dominant today. Queensland country literally just holding on.
no,
Another whistle, another reset.
just losing their footing there, I think. Nothing too serious. Other than the wind, beautiful day out here to play some rugby, isn't it, Dave?
Well, yes, it's cold.
It's good. That's
Sat
thanks
in
to
the
the,
wind
thanks to the wind.
is
Yeah.
very, very cold, but it's nice when the sun gets out. It has been an incredible weekend of rugby, and it's been a different day today. Last night we saw some fairly big scores. New South Wales country putting on 99 points against the under-23 side from South Australia, and then Perth Gold putting 108 points on the board. Again, the scrum from New South Wales is absolutely massive, put Queensland under huge amounts of pressure. And that pressure led to a little mistake, but another penalty, and penalties at the moment killing the Cockatoos. Close to the line again. And will they just try and find that extra inch again? They just can't quite get there. And again, the Cockatoos, big and strong, last-ditch defence. Post protector wants to get involved. Still slow, still scrappy. Again, Queensland country will look to go. Again, they can only get a very, very small distance. And again, the defence from the men in orange. Again, it's slow. Flat ball. Again, they can't get through. Quick hands will get them there. Can they get it down? Yes, they can.
Just that great patience from them there, Dave. Excellent defence by the Cockatoos, really digging deep, particularly around the post. There's that post projector coming a bit loose. But yeah, great work by Queensland country, holding onto the ball, really making their way through the phases, creating that space and time to send it out wide, and just nobody out wide there on the winger. Just a bit of lapse in defence. I think obviously bit of ruck watching there by New South Wales, and allowing him around the corner there. As you said, some quick hands, Artem, and away he went.
Just too. I mean, it's an incredibly protracted amount of time that they were dealing with that. They were dealing with just head down, bum up stuff from Queensland country. The kick will be an incredibly difficult kick from the sideline, but they do lead it by 2 points before the kick.
Yeah, that wind will be blowing straight into the kicker's face there as he's trying to knock this. He'll try and go sort of left to that left upright as the wind blows the ball back. That's tough. He'll have to curl it back into the wind here, Dave.
Yeah, and the wind's not going to want him to. Yeah, he's almost going to have to look at the left-hand post and strike it and hope it holds its line.
Absolutely, drill it low and hard. Looks like he set it up that way on the tee.
He sent it on the way. Will the wind bring it back?
Wind won't let it get there.
No, I don't even think it had the legs. It's hard to tell because it looks like a beautiful sunny day out here in South Australia, which it is. But Mother Nature has decided that she's going to blow a gale today. So don't forget, still to come after this one, South Australia taking on Perth Gold, which will be a massive test for the Black Falcons. Huge high hanging kick, another good contestable kick. It's an interesting, it's knocked on by blue. Looked like there was a gold hand in there, or an orange hand in there. It's been changed, so it's an orange knock on.
Yep, there
initially.
was indeed. Well spotted there, Dave. The orange hand sneaking through just before Queensland country were able to claim that out of the air. Tough one, that ball in the air with this wind blowing around today.
You don't know where it's going to go. Because it's blustery. It's not a consistent wind, and that then means that trying to judge it in the air. But again, we have to remember that Queensland country are a player down. For them to be fighting as hard as they are and losing out on the scrum again. Now the Cockatoos inside to B, who just couldn't take it with him. And again, the men in blue get out of jail.
Fantastic dominant scrum there, as you see, rewarded by the penalty now from the referee. And Cockatoos scrum really just dominant here, aren't they? Just that is absolute power.
All day that the Cockatoos have been on top in the scrum. And, well, kick a goal, I think, is that the signal?
Yep, referees pointed across
Yeah,
there.
so it is going to be a kick at goal, is the signal. It's caught the tee carrier by surprise. There's no one making the way to him at the moment.
Interesting call in these conditions after he's missed 2 already today. So,
but it's a big big tip of the hat to this Queensland countryside that the New South Wales Cockatoos, even with a one-man advantage, are going to take the points. What are we? 11.5 minutes to go in this one. So again, he'll have to send this one towards the left-hand post. Buatava, who kicked very well last night. Different kicking conditions today. So not connected with one today. Does aim it at the left-hand post. Wind does its job, brings it down. Cockatoos have a 1-point lead.
good call in the end after I questioned the call, but great work. Take the lead there. So this game's a bit back and forth, isn't it, Dave? Bit of to and fro with the score.
It is, and you know, as I've said, that Queensland country certainly can take a lot of positive out of this, but New South Wales, the Cockatoos, you would think, as we approach 10 minutes to go, should start to show that extra advantage, but again, they just muff the kickoff. But you would expect this one to just find its way back into Queensland country territory. They'll go out far onto that far side, and they've coughed it up again. There is a New South Wales supporter to my right who said, we do not want to be playing rugby down there, we need to get out of there. And
with the wind at their back, you'd think they wouldn't be wasting their time down there, would you, Dave?
They didn't listen to him.
Good option in the kickoff. Into the wind, into the sun as well. Sun on that angle there, perfect. Let it hang in the sunrise, and yeah, it worked. Well, sunlight, sorry, not sunrise. Let it hang and yeah, put them under pressure straight away. Queensland country back in Cockatoos 22. So see if they can turn that into something.
But they have to win the scrum, and that's not been. It's not been nailed on at all. They've managed to get this one though, and now they are away. Pulled out the back, got man and ball, left the ball behind. Again, handling errors have been a theme of this game, and just having a chat with the referee coaches at half-time. It's just the amount of pressure that both sides have put each other under. Now they are away. Kick will find its way to the Queensland country fullback, able to get in front of his support runners. So Queensland country can go again. Stolen. And the Cockatoos come away with it. Biu again trying to get his hands free, trying to get away. Almost snagged as he tried to come away, but turned it into something. And a penalty to Queensland country. And they have held on and held on and held on in this game.
Absolutely, Dave. Definitely not giving up after that that man sent from the field. And really, I mean, if anything's motivated them here, it's they're getting hungrier and hungrier at every breakdown.
Well, funnily enough, they have come into this game since the red card. And that is a wonderful touch finder. It doesn't go though. I thought it had gone. And the Cockatoos will start their way up the mountain again.
Just on that one, Dave, I found the in-game kicking today, and in all of the games, has not been great. A lot of it's down the middle, straight at the player. That one evades the fullback, but again, not down into the corners, not using that wind particularly well.
It's yeah. I mean, it's such a penalty.
That one's paid off there for the Cockatoos, though.
It's you're talking fine margins, because if you get hold of it too well, there is the full potential that from your own 22 you could kick it out the back, and then you're going to find yourself at a scrum at the other end.
This is true, but distance away from it, I mean, a lot of kicks going between the 15-metre lines and not looking to go outside. Players kicking it down the middle, the Cockatoos winger just here putting the chip kick on and not going down the line, going straight back at the 15.
I think as well is that the lineouts have been so difficult today that finding touch isn't the advantage that it would normally be.
Also true, so trying to keep the game in play and put pressure on, rather put pressure on yourself.
Keep it on the island and then try and peg them back on their own line.
Having another crack at posts here. Try and,
yeah, so Buatava will have a look at just pushing them out, which would make it a 4-point game. Again, just got to try and get this on its way. Let the wind do what it does. And he's asked the wind to do too much.
Clipped it with his instep there. Didn't look like he struck it well at all.
Again, they've decided against the 22-metre dropout, and he's carried that ball a long way. Almost out to the 40-metre line. Queensland country again have to take on this orange wall in midfield. Oh. Short ball will go to ground. Again, no pressure on it. So Queensland Country could pick it up and go again. He'll step inside the first tackler. Flat ball outside. Now starting to get the phase play together and starting to cross the gain line. Came straight through and got the halfback. So another penalty. 5 minutes to go and we find ourselves basically with a repeat of what we saw in the first half, which was the Country Cockatoos putting all the pressure on. And now Queensland Country with 5 minutes to go, any score will do them.
Absolutely, edging their way down in the Cockatoos half here. Just looking for those evasive few points.
And again, just first tick box. Get your line out right. They go to the front, it's scrappy, but they get it back. Into midfield again, little show and go. Flat ball left behind again and then knocked on. That's what the Country want. That's what the Cockatoos wanted. Just a stoppage. Don't think that's a good one. Looks in a huge amount of pain. Didn't quite see what happened. I was watching the kick.
I think just as he's trying to collect that ball as it spilled free, he's been hammered to the ground there.
It's not really gone for an area of his body. It's hard to see with his knee. Well, it doesn't look like it. I mean, he's having his knee looked at.
Looks like he's just twisted or turned as he's gone to ground there, Dave, as he's gone behind him. It's like he's just twisted that knee.
He is right on the edge of the former cricket pitch. So I don't think it's that. It's almost
He's just turned that knee inside, not twisted it, but just turned it in as he's.
It's an interesting one.
As he's turned his head the other way there. Well, it looks like he's gonna.
Well, there's no tape there, so it's not like it's something.
Oh no! He's not happy.
No. He's decided he doesn't want to go the long way around. He's going to come to this near side. I think. Is that the replacement halfback for the halfback who went off injured in the first half?
Must remember, 30-minute halves and no stoppage time in this competition.
No stoppage, but
so
we can't end on a penalty.
And the quicker he can get off, the more time Queensland Country will have to follow through and be able to turn that deficit around. So he's obviously decided not to go the long way across and slow down the extra 30 seconds.
So it will be a Country Eagles scrum after the knock-on. Fully expect them to take control of that. Queensland Country had a go at it and then just got absolutely destroyed. But I think they did manage to turn it over. They got the penalty.
Queensland Country dropping their binds there as the... Sorry, New South Wales Country dropping their binds there as Queensland Country sort of folded back behind. So just not able to hold on and make it count. Oh, Queensland deciding to go to the line, not favouring the kick there into the wind.
It's a heck of a kick from there if you were going to go at goal.
In the stiff breeze, that would be a big ask.
I mean, that would be the South African fullback range. I think he'd be just on it.
Front Stain, tell you what, in this wind, I don't think he'd be backing himself too much there. Although, actually, I think he's his confidence levels are fairly high, so he may back himself. So we go to the line out.
Which has not been clean at all for either team today. And again, we see it, and he's penalty. He's on the floor. You can't play it.
Yeah, that's come forward. I think being kicked off the boot from the 2, and he's unfortunately on the ground in front of it. That's just all kinds of ugly, isn't it, from Queensland country?
And now you would think that the Cockatoos, well, they're asking the question because he's going to tap it and put it out. And the Cockatoos will get out of this one, winning it by 1 point. Queensland country took everything that was thrown at them and unfortunately couldn't get over the line. In New South Wales country, 2 from 2 for the weekend, winning this one 13 points to 12. The next time you see us will be South Australia taking on Perth Gold. We will be back then. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, for our final live game of the day. The Black Falcons from South Australia taking on Perth Gold. Perth Gold have been out for a little bit. South Australia possibly a little bit of mind games. So we get ready for this one. Perth Gold looked very, very good last night, putting 108 points on Tasmania. Huge test for the men from Adelaide. First restart, high hanging kick is taken by South Australia. Gerd with the first hit up. McKinley will find Coe, then out to Pitter. Evans, and first time we've seen Joseph Teki today. Finally got himself in a little bit of room. And they will get a penalty. What South Australia do have is they have an incredibly quick back three, two wingers that can finish if given any level of space. So McKinley will look to push South Australia down towards the try line. Off the top they will go, McKinley to Coe. Coe is hit hard in midfield. Ball still comes back South Australia's way. Skelton is hit, but they do again manage to recycle. McKinley looks for a little bit of space, can't find any. O'Neill to Cook, inside ball to Murphy, and again O'Neill just looks for a little bit of space and then is met hard. Coutser tries to find a way through. Can't again. South Australia have lost it. Perth can clear. Will find its way towards Evans. Bounces once. To Coutser. Fires it at Pitter. He'll beat the first one. Then it will go out to Joseph Teki. Can't find the space. Does manage to get going forward though. Marshall, short ball. Again. South Australia building some momentum, keeping hold of the ball. Stanojevic. O'Neill again. Line speed from Perth was good, and again they managed to get it out to Joseph Teki, just couldn't get it in. So they'll have the advantage for the knock-on. If it had gone to hand, he wouldn't have got away anyway. The covering defender would come across. So it will be a Perth scrum. It's the biggest test for a while for South Australia, and Perth will look to continue their dominance. The New South Wales Country Cockatoos went 2 from 2 earlier today. And the Falcons have turned it over again. Coe will bounce it out towards Coutser. Met straight away. Bullower looked inside. Again, the counter ruck from WA is good. Perth looking to get in there. Murphy will shift it, and again they find themselves a little bit isolated, but O'Neill manages to get it away. Good, quick hands again to Joseph Teki. Steps inside, Again, finds a little bit of room, but can't get away. Stanojevic went backwards. And Murphy. Again, Perth will turn it over. Long chase, and there we see these weather conditions. If you turn it over, they will punish you territorially. So it'll be a South Australian line-out just outside their own, inside their own 22, not far from their own line. McKinley will work his way back into the pocket. There's a big left leg on him. They decide to go to Pitter, who's met strongly. Again, they're happy to go. Stanojevic to Cook, to Kuta. Kuta now gets away. Wants to put the ball on the boot. Where's the bounce go? The bounce comes back to Kuta. One to beat. Gets caught, isolated, ball will come out. Hacked ahead. Gerd goes and gets it. Koe. He will send it out to Pitter. Pitter tries to find a way around the outside, and he will cough it up and lose it. Now Perth are away. Perth for the corner, and Perth will score. And you do feel that that's going to be the story of the day. I mean, the way that the Black Falcons will be able to try and stay in touch is to keep hold of the ball for as long as they can. Hope for a breakout, which they nearly had. Perth managed to turn it over and get going, and we talked about it, how quickly Perth can turn defence into attack. We saw the perfect example of it then. Probably about as an environmentally friendly kick as you can get today. That's, the wind will be just taking that ball directly at the posts from that position. And Perth have managed to go 5 points up. And they've had ball in hand for approximately 30 seconds. It's on the way. Flags stay down, so just the 5 points. South Australia will want to repeat of the restart that they had to start the game. Evans with the restart again, a high hanging contestable kick, and Skelton will take it. Stanojevic takes a little bit, bounces his way at McKinley, does well to pick it up off his bootlaces, and he will make a couple of yards as well. Now they come near side, Murphy, Skelton, Adcock comes forward out of the tackle, advantage, and then the scrum. Just asking the question whether it's a deliberate knock-on or not. And it's not, as his arms came around to make the tackle, it knocked the ball forward. No blindside to speak of, so Kuta has just made his way, standing to the right of McKinley to give him an option. Perth Gold will just walk over the top of it. And again, the ball will go to boot. Evans will sit under it. Now coming back though. Come back for the penalty. lineup from South Australia has looked pretty solid. It's the scrum was not at its best. Perth Gold rather easily walking over the top of it. So bang on halfway, it will be a Perth Gold lineup. And again they go. Gerd will make contact in midfield, but Perth now are starting to roll forward. Send it out to Tarawa. It's brought down by Pitter. Little snipe from Vorster, gets it away. Hands are on for South Australia, but not strong enough. And again they're out on that far side, and again they will shake away. Just slush forward, but again Meredith starting to look dangerous down on that far channel. So South Australia will have a scrum. On or around the 22. Wouldn't be surprised if Perth Gold almost set up for an attacking scrum. They were that dominant in the last one. Having to fight to get it back, South Australia. Front row stand up and they do get it back, but it was scrappy. And it's turned over. Perth look to open up into midfield. Short sends it out to Meredith. Meredith can't quite get away through. Now the numbers come. There's a black wall in front of him though. Now they can look open. Tarawa will look to step inside. Just edge closer and closer and closer to the try line. Now he's found a little bit of a gap. Too big and too strong from there. And Perth will score their second of the day. South Australia were backs to the wall and Perth found space. And the Perth prop. Lee found an opening that he liked and put his head down and went through it. Meredith will look to tack on the extras. Flags stay down, so it will stay Perth 10 and Black Falcons 0. Well, Joe Sateki looks to go early. Didn't go 10 and Perth Gold were able to pick it up and go. Interesting tactic. Turned over by the Falcons, but lost forward first. There's just a feeling around the ground and with South Australia that they needed to get the first points on the board and then just try and hold on. Perth are showing that when they have ball in hand, They are an interesting and difficult proposition. So it'll be a Perth scrum, smack bang in the middle. Again, they're solid. They'll again go out to that far side, and again they find themselves some space. One-on-one with the fullback. Good challenge from the fullback. Perth support will get there though, and as they just fly forward. Little hesitation, tries to find a way through. Held up over the line, so it will be a Perth scrum 5 meters out. Just the Falcons not able to win the contact. Every time there's a contact and every time there's a competition, South Australia are having to step back a couple of paces, which allows Perth to find the front foot again. And if this Perth scrum gets going forward, they could find themselves in pushover territory. Ball goes in. Perth do get moving. Oh, getting it going forward. Arm is out for a penalty already. They don't need the penalty. So the number 8 Mio will just go over. Little bit of afters, but too dominant, far too dominant, that Perth scrum at the moment. And if there's going to be an inquisition underneath the post, it's going to be with the big boys. We're in 1-8. Both sides of the scrum, in the attacking or defending, South Australians have really struggled with it. And Perth last night were able to walk over the top of the Tasmania scrum. 16 minutes gone, and they lead this one 15 points to 0 with the kick to come. Finally, they get one on target, and that was 17 points to 0. South Australia will have to restart again. And again, the kickoff is contestable. And again, it goes to ground, but Perth have managed to sort it out. And again, they find themselves going down that left-hand wing for them. And again, they get something out of it, but they have coughed it up and turned it over. Marshall. O'Neill to Stanojevic. Again, will just put his head down and go. Scrappy again. Another penalty. Side entry. Perth have just managed to slow down and make every single breakdown scrappy. South Australia with the lineup. The lineup's been good so far. not straight. Again, we just see the weather just start to take effect. Perth deciding to take the scrum, unsurprisingly. They would have had a penalty from the last scrum either way, you would think. So again, they will just look to continue to assert their dominance. Couple of bites at it and then he will go. Good, not quite getting there. And again, just the power and pace in the midfield of this Perth Gold side, and they get another penalty. This time they will pull it out of the back. Pit a man in man and ball. They're going to come back for the first penalty. They'll go a long way back. So they will have a line out. A good attacking position. South Australia have had moments where they've looked like they've been in it. Perth can be so clinical and so fast. Gerd has to have a couple of goes at him. Finally brought down. And again they go. Out the back. This time they miss. Then the drop off inside. Meredith, one to beat. Meredith will get there. And Perth will push away again. And this consistency that Perth have, where their completion percentage with the ball in hand is incredibly high. It's very rare that they come away from a possession without putting points on the board. So 22 points to nil with the kick to come. It's a good kick and the wind will do its work and bring it around, and that one goes over and Meredith will convert his own try. The ball thought about falling off the tee. Good high hanging restart again, and they do win it again, but Perth managed to put themselves in a position where they could come back with it. Now they will just start their familiar battering into the midfield. Then they were going to put the ball on the boot. It looked like Kusa was in the right place for all love and money. And then the wind just got hold of it. And the clearance anywhere will do. So it will be a Perth line out. And look for the back, but again, it's so difficult on days like today to do anything other than four, really. When the ball is in the air, the less chance there is that the wind won't affect it. So it'll be a South Australian scrum. But again, Perth could almost set up an attacking line. Ball goes in, and again, South Australia did the best they could, which was just get it out as quickly as possible. Koei sends it out to Josateki, who throws an outrageous dummy, and then we'll find Pitter, and then another outrageous inside ball. The two Fijians coming together, and just a little bit of Fijian magic. And they're driven back in the contact. Marshall. Call of hold was given, and it's just allowed Perth to counter-ruck and counter-ruck successfully. And they'll put the ball on the ground. Just gets away from Meredith. Don't have the time to pause and be patient. And Perth punish them. This time South Australia manager, but again they've gone the back of the line and it's not straight. I think what we are seeing in the background is the players' tea, which I think started cooking at about 10 o'clock this morning. That is a lot of meat that has been cooking for a while here at Gleneagles Reserve. Arm comes out again for a penalty. And the scrum of Perth has just been absolutely dominant again today. And Perth, unsurprisingly, will take the scrum again. Just rubs salt into the wound of this Black Falcon pack. Oh, and penalty to the Falcons this time. Just a little bit of chat between the front rowers. Nothing in it. Nothing much in it, but he does want to have a chat with Blair Marshall. Not sure whether he's got a report. No. As we see as they come up, it's just Mr. Stanajovic and his opposite number just having a little chat. What you do about nothing, really. This time they do go to the back and it works in a way. Koei looks to straighten. Let's make some good yardage. Pitter, he'll put his head down and go. It's Perth midfield. Whether you're attacking or defending is a fairly tall order. Stanojevic will carry. Cook to Adcock. Tries to find a way through. Almost got his hands free. Stolen again. Coming back for a penalty. Peter is slow to get up. Holding his head. About 30 seconds away from half time. Talk in the Perth side is how much they're enjoying the contact at the moment. Certainly is not a time for anybody to take a backward step. So we'll probably go into time, and there will be time for the lineup. And we'll sweep around, and Falcons will have the wind at their back. And that is an incredibly good kick in these conditions from Kurt McKinley. So South Australia will have a line-out just outside the 22. This time they go off the top. McKinley fires it out to Pitter. Then they will try and get Joe Sateki in a little bit of room. Tries to find a way around the outside. He's corralled. Goes into touch, and that will be half-time. So Perth Gold lead this one 24 points to 0. We will take a break, and we'll be back with you for half number 2. So welcome back to half number 2, and I think you can tell that our director is hungry. That has been going for a fair while. There will be some good eating for the teams tonight who aren't going anywhere. They all have a rest day tomorrow, and then we will be back here on Sunday for the culmination and the presentation of that very, very impressive trophy over on the far side. So South Australia with the wins in the backs at the second half. Koei will stand underneath it. Manages to get away from the first contact. Get South Australia going forward. Flat ball to Snodjovic. McKinley takes it flat, gives it flat. Almost intercepted. But he's knocked it on. Tarawa, very, very close. The wind can get hold of those long passes as well and just make them drift into areas, into danger areas. So it will be a South Australian scrum. See whether they've managed to fix anything at half time. Caden O'Neill will put the ball in the scrum. Again, Perth. Just drop a gear. We'll stand up and redo it. So Perth will reset. They have been absolutely dominant on the scrum. Speaking to somebody who made the journey over from Perth during half time. Vast majority of these players are playing club rugby. Just as a testament to rugby in Western Australia, apparently 40 players were made unavailable for this squad. South Australia managed to get that one. Koei looks to run around the outside and find a gap. Can't quite find one. McKinley will sit back in the pocket. Thought about it, then sends it out to Josateki. Not much room. Came off a South Australian foot last, and they've gone quickly and bounce to the rugby ball. Took it away from Lewis Adcock, but Perth again can start to build on halfway. Turnover though, Coutser comes away with it. Smith hit in the backfield. Cook. Not much go forward from this South Australian side. Again, this Perth midfield on both sides. The kick will go through. Meredith will pick it up. It's away from one, can't get away from Pitta. No, they're looking to come away onto this near side. Tries to take on Josateki on the outside. Inside ball is good. Will find short. The offload again. One-on-one. Coutser gets stepped. And Vorster will go over. Found himself in no man's land. The South Australian winger. And Vorster just had too much gas. The inside ball to short now, and once they're in the backfield, all sorts of problems, and just that little step was enough to get Vorster away. $29 points to 0. With the kick to come. Kick is on its way. Wind will push it across the front. See the replay of the try again, and nice little out the back from short, and Keats has just found himself in all sorts. Again, a high hanging restart, and again it's contestable. Stanojevic will pick it up. Counter up just disrupts it and causes the knock on. Again, Perth's ability to hit the ruck and mess it up and make everything scrappy gives them an advantage. So Perth with another set piece, leading this one 29 points to 0. And we'll reset. I wonder when Perth minds will start to think about tomorrow. Start to think about being ready, not tomorrow, sorry, for Sunday, being ready for what they will see. They'll be going 2-2 as well, 2-0 as well, you would think. They do not look like they're going to let this one go. Now they will go out on that far side again, and again they find themselves in the backfield. Evans makes the tackle. McLennan just puts his head down and rumbles forward. And again they make yardage after contact. Now they've got numbers out here. Decided against it. Tarawa will step back in and then they will get away. Perth will score again. So when do they start to think about Sunday? See just how big and strong they are, and then when they step back inside, they're just running through arm tackles again. Once they get a roll on them, once they start getting into that area behind the gain line and forwards are running at backs, they look almost unstoppable. Kick is good. 36 points to 0. Change is being rung for South Australia. Tremaine Butler has found himself on the field. Jaden Phillips is on. Kieru Brown is on. Bronlett is on. And again, Perth trying to find a way out. This time they lose it forward and South Australia will get the scrum. So we are starting to get some shape to Sunday. to the first game on Sunday, 10 a.m. will be Tasmania taking on Victoria Country. And it will be Queensland Country against the loser of this one, which at the moment is looking like South Australia with 20 minutes to go. And Perth not looking like they're going to let the Black Falcons in it. And then the final game on Sunday at 2:20 p.m. will be New South Wales Country against the winner of this one. Scrum will go around and it will be a South Australian ball again. We'll just reset. A small victory that South Australia can take out of this one is that they didn't turn it over. O'Neill to Butler. Butler will put the ball on the boot. Not gathered cleanly. So it will be South Australian lineup. So it will be a South Australian lineup, just hold for some changes. The lineup has worked well for South Australia. One or two haven't been there. Phillips looks at the back, finds the back. Adcock rises high. South Australia trying at the maul going forward. Perth have done well to get it going sideways and then have managed to disrupt it. He's going to come back. O'Neill, McKinley, Coe. Couldn't get through that black and gold wall, and Perth again have turned it over, and this is where they're dangerous. Turnover ball. Out to the far side. And they look like they've got numbers on the near side if they get it out and get it going. Slow ball. Forces Perth to look for an exit play. And again, some changes. Fleetwood Piper has come on. McCarty is on. Jack Johns is on. All for South Australia. That one's not straight, and again, Perth. And Pitter might find himself in a little bit of trouble. There's no arms in that tackle. He's just gone straight to the knees. It is an almost perfect example of the grass cutter. So there is a card. There is, yeah, that's where you want to get rid of that from the game. And it's a difficult one because there's not much else you can do when the big fella gets on the hoof. There's no arms in that tackle. Flat ball into midfield again, and again they managed to get through. And again they have the South Australian defence scrambling. Loose pass. It's a battle on the ground, the penalty. Hands on the floor. So Perth will knock it into touch, and then they will be able to build from the lineup. Changes being made on the Perth side as well now. Off the top they come. And the straight line, and then thrown over the top, and there's just one too many. Perth will score again through Miller. .41 points to 0. South Australia will find themselves on the wrong end of a decent score. He was waiting for the tee. He shoot it away. He's going to drop goal it. And that's never going to come back once the wind gets hold of it. McKinley gets it right on the 10-metre line, but Perth managed to deal with it. And again, Perth are away, out the back. One extra. Defence from South Australia comes across. Turned over, but lost forward. The speed at which Perth play this game. Probably had the easier draw than New South Wales country, who had to take on Queensland country today. Managed to scrape through that one despite Queensland country losing a player through a red card. Does set up an interesting game tomorrow between Perth and New South Wales. Flat ball into midfield again. Coe will make the challenge, but big step off the left foot, and Perth will go over again. And Jackson just stepped and went. So as we tick towards 11 minutes to go, Perth will start threatening the half century at very least. Flat ball got them away, and then the offload in the tackle, and then a big left foot step got him all the space he needed. So 46 points to 0 with the kick to come. Kick is good. So they are in 2 points away from the half century. Poor kids enjoying their moment in the sun, didn't quite want to leave us. So McKinley this time will drive it a little bit deeper. Collected by Short. Short will just put his head down and try and run through the midfield. Manages to get it going backwards. And again, Perth are away. Again, the flat ball gets Perth behind the line. The black and gold shirts streaming forward. Decided to hold on to it. Calls for it out onto this near side. They decide to go the other way. Flat ball again. Quick hands will get out there. Giving themselves lots and lots of room out here. They've got forwards against backs. If they can move it, they don't need to move it. They go short. And they go short to Short, who look to offload to Taylor. Just put it a little bit too far in front. So it'll be a scrum to South Australia. But it's a very, very dangerous spot for South Australia. The scrum has been dominated today. And there Perth go. The arm goes out and they'll get a penalty. And you will think that they will look to set that up again. The big boys will want another go at him. So 5 meters out. They get going forward. Now they rumble, still going. Arm comes out again. But the try is given. Close enough to a pushover try, we'll give them it. When you see a South Australian back rower standing next to the number 8, you know that he is not bound with a full arm. So they do pass the half century. 53 points to 0 with a kick to come. Meredith will look to convert the try. Kick is no good, so we will stay at 53 points to 0. And South Australia will restart again. Pitter is back with us, so we are back to 15 aside. High hanging kick again. Lost forward. So South Australia again have a chance. Couldn't get to ground. Pitter will go, try and find a gap. Tries to wriggle through. Couldn't quite get there. McKinley has to climb the ladder to get it, but does get it. Penalty for not 10. Won't be able to go quick again. Oh, they do go quick. Marshall rumbles towards the line. Pitter, who was almost single-handedly decided that he wants to get rid of the donuts. Samuel, interested in run around, but a run around nonetheless. McKinley is met. Short has hands on and will win it. So with 5 minutes to go, even with a comfortable 53 points to nil lead, they still want to contest. So Bronlet just getting some repairs in midfield. He doesn't look overly comfortable. I think they are rolling interchanges today, so he'll be able to go off and on as required. So some of the front rowers who have been given time to rest may find themselves taken back in. Not sure whether there's blood on. What is the issue with Mr. Lett? As he wanders it back and joins the line out again. Marshall brings it down, advances it. McKinley hit hard and lost it. Advantage. Fleetwood Piper looking for a gap. McCarthy to Brown. He's hit hard. Pitter again. Tries to step out. Can't shake his way free. McKinley misses everyone. Butler has to go and get it on the bounce. Big contact again. Marshall this time. Gives it to Brown. Ends up on the bounce to Pitter. McKinley to Lett. And we'll just try and reset them. Marshall again. McCarthy to McKinley. McKinley manages to get through, looks for his support. Finds his support in Coe. One-on-one with the fullback. Covering tackle comes and gets him. Coe did well to just be able to keep it going and get his support there. McKinley again. Missed Butler. Joseph Teki got a lot of work to do. Does enough for the first time, then gets stepped into touch. But they will come back for the penalty. Murphy will wander towards the mark. Just stepped into touch, very, very nearly got away. Marshall again. Inside ball to Phillips. McCarthy to Pitter. Very, very upright, and Perth will try and hold him up, and I think they've stolen it again. It's come back the Black Falcons' way. Murphy, little show and go. Are edging closer to the line, and no surprise that Pitter has found himself with hands on the ball. He is absolutely desperate to score. That's the try line, I think. They are very, very close. It's very slow. They're over. Can they get it down? They do get it down, and South Australia will score a try right over there in the corner. Didn't quite see who came up with it. A lot of congratulations going to Kiru Brown. I think it was Brown. He's just managed to sneak his way over. And you would think after the kick that that would be that. So, Perth Gold comfortably again will win. So we will set up for Sunday for a game we should all look forward to. New South Wales country, the Cockatoos taking on Perth Gold. Also sets up South Australia versus Queensland country, which is to be another huge test for the boys from Adelaide. So that one won't make it, and that will be that. 53 points to 5. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the live broadcast. There is one more game today. That's Vic Country taking on a Barbarian side from South Australia. That one will go on YouTube later. It won't be live broadcast. And then on Sunday, we will be back for 3 great games of rugby. Tasmania taking on Victorian country. Queensland country will take on South Australia. And then to top us all off, it will be New South Wales country taking on Perth Gold. Make sure you are either in front of a TV for that one or come down to Glen Eagles Reserve for that one. From all of us at Spacequake Sports, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon.